I was diagnosed in March 1998 of breast cancer in the left breast, and it had spread to the lymph nodes. And then we finally chatted with the consultant and I, and we decided that the whole breast was best to come off. I don't know what I was thinking beforehand. I don't know, did I think it would be an imaginary breast or something would be left, but it was just so clean cut, and I had a good size of a breast, so there was still one there on the other side, and I felt I was ready mentally, but I wasn't. I did get a prosthesis and I did get a stick-on one, which were quite good actually, and you could sleep at night on it with the bra and stuff, you could shower with it, and that was quite good. But what I felt for me was mentally, I couldn't get past the fact that I had cancer. Every time I looked at that, it was a reminder to me that I had cancer. So therefore I felt that I couldn't get around the fact that I was going to get better. It absolutely, completely shut down any feelings of emotions, any feelings of intimacy. It stopped. I wouldn't allow my partner to touch me at all because I didn't feel comfortable. His only concern was, would it hurt me? You know, he was very gentle and would have been, I'm afraid of hurting you, but it did nothing would have hurt me, you know, around there, because the one thing about your breast is, you know, it's just all flesh really, so it isn't really painful, but it was more painful emotionally to me. I met the surgeon, had a chat with him, and we discussed reconstruction, and I was so excited because in my head I was getting my breast back, so that was good enough for me. And when I went in and had the surgery and woke up, I was delighted. Like woke up, I was bandaged up, and I could see two moles, like there was a shape of her breast. I was quite pleased, to be honest with you. There was scarring when it's took from the back. They take a muscle and a skin from the back and bring it around. Didn't bother me, the scarring. Mentally, I didn't even really see the scarring and was quite pleased with it. I was delighted. Down the road, a few months later, you start to realise, you know, there's a bit of pulling on the shoulder, you know, it feels a bit uncomfortable and stuff. But to be honest with you, you have to remind yourself that it's cancer, and you have to remind yourself it's never, you know, because sometimes, God forgive me, you did feel disappointed when you looked in the mirror because it wasn't your breast. My only stipulation was I was not waking up without a breast. Okay. And we had a chat about it, and they thought the best way was to put an implant in straight away, make a pocket and put it in. I was happy with that as long as I woke up with the breast. So I woke up and the implant was there, a bit strange, because the other one was half skin, half your body, so it kind of half natural. This one was really different because it was all implant, and I felt very aware of it, you know, just the weight, the shape, the touch, you know, you're very aware that it's not your own, but again, the shape looked good, in a bra it looked amazing, and although, to be honest with you, with the scarring and everything on the left side, and because you have to lose your nipples, you lose a lot of sensitivity, and you wouldn't have as much, in fact I don't have any sensitivity in my breast, to be honest, so sexually I suppose that comes into play, but it took me a while, but I have got my head around that, and I suppose it's a matter of being aware and knowing that you just have to go somewhere else. You don't know what questions to ask because you've never been in this position before, and it's not straightforward like breast augmentation. This is reconstruction surgery. So, you know, as one doctor said to me when I was up, not complaining but saying, is it not the same, and it doesn't, he was going, because they're not your breasts. And how true were those words? But to you, in your mind, you do believe that you're going to get your breasts back, and it sounds mad, but you kind of do, kind of think you're getting your breasts back. Time span would have been, I would say within about 3 years, the first really bad infection that I needed hospitalised. I was actually away for the weekend with my friend for a quiet weekend in a hotel, and we were just chilling out, and just like any fever, you know, I was up all night with shivers and temperature and shivering all over and feeling generally unwell. Did not know where the infection was, or I thought it was a flu. Still felt very sick, got a doctor. They didn't know either. And then when I come home, I started to realise the left breast was quite swollen. There was a tracking coming from the breast onto the chest, and then I knew something wasn't right. Phoned up the hospital, they told me to come straight up, and they admitted me and put me straight on to 3 different intravenous antibiotics at the time. For a few years after that, it just continued to be infected, swelling, a general feeling of tiredness, fatigued, sick, no energy, really unwell. They done tests, they done scans to see had the implant burst. It hadn't. There was no leakage or anything like that. And the surgeon and I chatted, and he decided the best thing was to remove the implants, that obviously my body was rejecting them in some form. I wanted them out by then because I knew they were making me sick. I was constantly sick. My only concern was I going to have no breasts? So a year and a half ago, went to hospital to have the transplant, which is major surgery. Reconstruction is not getting an implant and then come back in 10 years, to revamp your implants. You're literally constructing a breast. So with my appointment 8 weeks later, I was talking to the consultant about it, and he explained that this would have to be done in a series of operations. And I've been in twice. The last time would have been 6 weeks ago, where I had the muscle lifted underneath the right breast, and it is more defined, and it filled a bit, but and it looks more like a breast now. It really, really does. It's starting to really look good. You can see that there's a shape of one brilliant breast and a shape of one coming. The right hand breast doesn't fill a bra yet, the same size as the other side. I feel it's probably going to take another surgery to get there. And when that happens, I get a bit panicky and deflated because you think of waiting lists in the system. Once you've had your surgery, it's non-emergency. So it's not treated as an emergency anymore. So you're on a waiting list, albeit a reconstruction waiting list. And they say it's not as long as normal waiting list would be. And the last time, I think it was 8 months in between the two. And when I got the last surgery done there 6 weeks ago, and that can be very frustrating. I think my advice would be, don't rule it out until you've looked at all the options.